So I built Zenitsu into Elden Ring and he became Thunder. In this build video, I'm going to show you how I brought the Thunder Hashira to the lands between. Stay tuned.
Chill in the air, but the soul feels warm. Peace in the heart is the quiet storm.
Zenitsu's character appearance. When you think about thunder, what color comes to mind? Don't worry, I'll give you a sec. Okay, time's up. The answer should be golden. And that just so happens to be the staple of our hero's character appearance. Based on the Demon Slayer rendition of Zenny, it's actually quite easy to create him in-game. There's really only two things you need to focus on with this. One, make sure you've got the bowl cut. And two, turn it golden. Luster and shine doesn't really matter because by the time the enemies see his hair, it's supposed to be too late for them to respond anyways. Now I know what you might also be thinking. Uncle Dorian, I don't think Zenitsu's eyes are supposed to be that color. Well, if you let me explain, there's a perfectly logical and rational explanation as to why they're this color. It's because I forgot to change it when I reformed the character. Listen, I've recorded over 5 hours worth of Zenitsu gameplay. I don't want to keep bogging my computer down with extra files just because I didn't change an eye color. Turn it blue or golden depending on your preference. Now on to the next segment. Zenitsu's stat focuses. So when building a swordsman within Elden Ring. Wait. We've been down this road before, haven't we? Well look, when you create any swordsman in Elden Ring, you know you've got to place a high emphasis on dexterity. It just so happens that lightning infusions in this game scale with dex, which is all the more reason why you need to max it out as early as possible. Secondary emphasis needs to be made on vigor, mind, endurance, and faith. Of course he's not a tank, but I do think he needs more HP than what a paper cut could take away. He needs mind in order to span his thunder techniques, and endurance to swing his sword. Strength, intelligence, and arcane all take a bit of a dive here because he doesn't use any big weapons, nor any spells that require the use of stabs, nor does his playstyle emphasize bleeding his opponents, except for, you know, slicing their heads off. You can get away with putting more points into strength to help get a little bit of additional damage, but I chose to place more points into arcane just to increase my item discovery rate. So with all that, we can move right into some good stuff for this build. Cue the transition. Zenitsu's armor and weapons. I think we can all agree on one thing. Zenitsu got that drip on him. That robe is flawless and is an instrumental in our rendition of Zenitsu in the Lands Between. But we don't have the budget to afford it, so we gotta roll with Ronin's armor to mimic the looseness and sway of Zenitsu's in-series kimono. For his bracelets, I went with the Zamora bracelets because I ain't gonna lie, they look kinda cool to me. And for the boots, we've got the Land of Reeds greaves, you know, just to keep to his true swordsman heritage. Of course, no headgear because we want the shard bearers of the Land Between to know that a random kid with a golden bowl cut beat them at their very own game. For our weapons, of course, we know Zenny's a demon slayer, so naturally, we rock with the only weapon that's a classic anime swordsman will need, an Uchi katana. We hone and use two different Uchi katanas so that we can house two specific skills that we will go over later on in this video. Along with those Uchi katanas, we make use of two separate seals. The finger seal, which is the most basic of all the seals in the game, and the Gravelstone seal, which increases the power of Dragon Cult incantations, and supposedly increases the power of lightning-based incantations. Somebody fact check me on that because I don't think I noticed the difference in damage, so I probably just wasted a good bit of smithing stones. So after all that meticulous tweaking, this is what Zenitsu would look like in-game. Now on to the next scene. Hey, real quick, Uncle Dorian here. If you made it this far into the video, please support my effort by hitting the subscribe button and write a comment to tell me how I'm doing. These videos take a lot of effort to create, and every bit of support and feedback from you guys helps me to improve the quality of these videos and builds. Now back to the video. Zenitsu's Talismans, Spirit Ashes, and Physick combo. For Zenitsu's Talismans, we are bringing back some favorites for our lightning fast swordsman. Up first we have the Warrior Jar Shard, which will increase the power of our weapon skills by 10%. You could definitely replace this one with the Shard of Alexander, but because I didn't want to run through almost the whole main quest line just to get that talisman, I settled for the lesser of the two. Next up is another returning staple to our talisman foundation, Millicent's Prosthesis. Using this talisman increases our dex by 5 and increases the power of our successive hits. I'm unsure of the exact percentage, but I'm sure an expert will tell me in the comments. To synergize with Millicent's Prosthesis, we needed to pair it with the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, which greatly increases the power of successive hits. Once again, not entirely sure of the percentage, but I'm looking to the experts to help me out here, please. And finally, we have the Lightning Scorpion Charm, which increases the damage of all lightning-based attacks while making us weaker to lightning attacks. It's a terrible drawback, but considering that we can avoid a lot of lightning users in the game, it's not too bad. For our Physick combo, we kept it really simple, though I personally didn't need to use it, even though I probably should have. We have the Stone Barb Crack tier, which increases poison damage pretty much. Then we also have the Lightning Shrouding tier, which increases all the power of all our lightning based attacks. Fairly simple. Now for the Spirit Ashes, of course we're going to always justify the use of the Mimic tier because once again, Zenitsu is fast enough to move at the speed of light, so it stands to reason that he could be using after images to fight the enemies. I know, you're tired of that reason. Well, talk to From Software and tell them not to make it so easily justified. Now, if you watched my last video, you'll remember that I discovered that the Stormhawk Dean summon boosts physical attack power by about 20%. So between that and the fact that Zenitsu has his own crow, we can justify bringing this Ash into the fray. Finally, there is a new Ash on the block that surprised me for the first time because I fought against it. The demi-human swordsman Yash Spirit Ash showcases a swordsman that is extremely agile, and the original monster itself knocked me off quite a few times. Because Zenitsu is big on teamwork, I say that we can use this swordsman as a teammate during some fights, though he's not as powerful as us. Where are we at now? Oh yeah, on to his abilities. Zenitsu's abilities. So, I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but coming in at the first slot in Zenitsu's long list of abilities, we have Golden Vow. I know, really original, The script writes itself at this point, nephew, and there's only so much that I can control. But yeah, Golden Vow because Zenitsu likes making promises, specifically towards the women of his series. Following behind that, we have Flame Grant Me Strength, in order to further increase his physical damage, but moreover, this further symbolizes his resolve in certain endeavors involving the protection of his friends and the potential wife. Next up is one of the new incantations from the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, Electro Charge. Once activated, it creates a force field of lightning that surrounds the caster for a limited amount of time. It can be short charge or long charge, but I didn't notice any difference in the damage, though it lingers a bit longer when fully charged. Now for the last two abilities, this is why we needed the two Uchi Katanas. The second to last ability is Unsheath, a staple to Zenitsu's quick draw style. This skill is invaluable because it also allows for enemies to be stance broken much easier than just by swinging wildly. Now for the last skill. Drum roll please! Blink Bolt. This Ashavor was a gift also added with the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, and is what gives our Zenitsu build its Golden Flash effect. But it's a bit underwhelming. I think if the developers would have added a means to zip back and forth, this Ash would have been more worth it, but well, you know. Oh well. On to the next bit. Zenitsu's playstyle. Zenitsu is quite honorable, but he's a scaredy cat most of the time, and a simp. He's not one that prefers to dive headfirst into the fray. He's usually always standing back and surveying the situation, only intervening without thought when a woman is involved. Also, because Zenitsu is ultimately seen as the Golden Flash, he aims to end fights very quickly. Proccing bleed in addition to the increased power of successive hits from the Talismans is overwhelming to some enemies, and allows for quick finishes so long as you can fight relentlessly. That's all Zenny cares about. Of course, as you progress in game, you will find difficulty in some enemies. final thoughts. Overall, this playthrough was one of the toughest ones I've run. Zenitsu is a fire character as well as a powerful one. He's even strong enough to be considered a Thunder Hashira. But because of Elden Ring's underwhelming abilities, mixed in with the fact that old Zenny only knows 1 or 2 techniques, there wasn't really much that I could do on this playthrough except for run, slash, run some more, heal, slash, you get the gist. I love the character, but I think it's a tough build in-game to use and should only be ran by the best of Elden Ring's player pool. But anyways, that wraps up today's video. Thanks for watching, and if you made it this far, hit those like and subscribe buttons to support the channel so I can keep pushing out more crossover builds. I will see you all on the next one. Cue the outro.
Cool breeze moves where the night is free. Calm waves drift like a melody. Uncle Dorian speaks with an easy tone.